But if the only way to win Survivor is to not offer yourself out there, to not make yourself a big target, to not attack in any way whatsoever and just stay in the weeds, then we might as well be watching Traitors. And I didn't sign up to watch Traitors on Fiji.
Hi, my name is Abby Maria.
Hi, my name is Saul.
Hi, my name is Wendell Holland.
My name is Brandon Donlin.
Hey everybody, this is Mike Gabler, the Alligabler, coming to you live on Survivor Squared.
Survivor Squared.
Survivor Squared.
Survivor Squared.
Survivor Squared.
Survivor Squared.
Survivor 50 says it's in the hands of the fans, but I want to know, what fans are we talking about? Because me and Bailey Buffs are here to break down last night's episode of Survivor 50. While there were parts that were fantastic, there were parts that leave us scratching our heads, and it's not just because one of our favorites went home. Bailey, we have 10 players left on Survivor Season 50. We're going to go through all of them. We have a fun game to play to talk about. One of these 10 is going to be the winner, and we're going to try to figure out who right here, right now. But first, we have to kind of pick apart some of the things that have happened specifically on this episode. Last night, though, how are you feeling? How are you feeling this morning? We're almost at the end of a truly remarkable season, Bales.
I just cannot predict what's going to happen this season. I just feel like every week I've had an inkling of who I think it might be or who might be in discussion, and every week it's just not that person. And so, I mean, I'm so sad. You know, Christian has been just one of my absolute favorites, one of our absolute favorites. He's been the entertainment factor of the show. So many quotable moments, just so much quote unquote cinema from Christian. So I'm very sad to see him go. And that moment where, you know, he heard it and it was him, you could just feel the weight of him. It was just, it made me almost shed a tear. I was so sad.
He knew it was going to be him, and we'll get into all that and how he handled Tribal Council and how they edited that Tribal Council in a very interesting way. But this episode in particular, listen, I want to come out and say right off the top, I have truly enjoyed Survivor Season 50. I have truly enjoyed my journey to get here. If you've been following me for a long time, you know that 2025 is when I started watching Survivor. I watched every single season. I've recapped every single season on my Instagram and TikTok pages. I went through it all with my hot takes, treating Survivor like a sport, enjoyed all the conversations I've had. We've interviewed winners on this channel and various guests. We have more guests coming as this goes on. There is no complaining coming from this seat as I host Survivor Squared, a podcast on YouTube. With the fact that this is successful at all, Bailey, I'm thanking my lucky stars. I say all that to say, this past episode in particular was the perfect encapsulation of what is wrong with both current Survivor and Survivor Season 50. We had so many things happen in this episode, so many things that were good and a lot of things that were bad, and we're going to break down every single one. But I got to say, Bailey, maybe I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, but I am not too happy with last night's episode in particular. And again, I must stress it has nothing to do with one of our favorites going home. You, however, are the big-time Survivor fan. You've been here since the beginning. You've watched all the seasons as they've come out. You were very excited to dive into this podcast with me and break down 49, break down 50, break down the future. But how are you feeling morale wise? I mean, again, I feel like I'm hitting this with a heavy hammer here. This is a fun season, don't get me wrong, but how are you feeling compared to where we started, compared to where we are now? You said it was unpredictable, but are you still at a 10 excitement level? Like, where are we?
Anyone who knows me knows it's hard for me to dip down below an 8 of excitement level of anything that I like. I'm a pretty optimistic, glass half full type of gal. So for me, genuinely, it still really is like it goes up and down a little bit, but it's always pretty much between a 7.5 and a 10. Like, it's really not dropping lower than that. I will say it's felt very stop and go. It feels like the momentum like starts to build and then we kind of take a step back and then it starts to build, and it's just this crickety like roller coaster almost. Like, I'm thinking some like old school Six Flags, Colossus, like, you know, OG, just like rickety. You just can't really figure out where the momentum's going. And I hate gimmicks. I get it. I do, but like, I just don't like every time it's like, oh, well, there's the Jimmy Fallon plug we've been waiting on, and there's the Billie Eilish plug, and now we know the Mr. Beast plug is coming. And so like, that just does take me out of the game, and I'm not entirely sure why bringing in these like big name people. I think because Survivor's always been such its own entity, its protected little bubble that is just Survivor.
They're literally stranded on an island, Bailey. They're literally stranded on an island.
It's literally that's what they are doing, is their world outside of our usual world, outside of the comfort of our usual world. And so to bring in celebrity cameos and celebrity advantages, like, it just takes away from the sanctity of what I feel like Survivor is. I understand why we're doing it. I get that. But I do think it takes away from just like the original, like, perfect little bubble that is Survivor.
I think Survivor is trying so hard, this season in particular, to make sure they can say every episode for the first time in Survivor history. And I feel like them reaching for new for the first time in Survivor histories has really made that stop and go effect that you were talking about. Because for the first time in Survivor history, we had to vote off a pair. And listen, that worked. I liked that little check mark, that little advantage. For the first time in Survivor history, we have a boomerang idol. Again, we applaud the idea of changing the gimmicks around. For the first time in Survivor history, a player must vote for himself and also read that disadvantage in front of the whole entire tribe. Knowledge is power, and he has given all of that up. Like, I understand that we are trying to add to the game. We are trying to throw things out there, but we saw this. I mean, I saw this in season 41, the first season after the pandemic, where I made the joke in my little recap. While I enjoyed season 41, I feel like they just sat in a Zoom for 6 months, and every idea that came to the table, they said, yeah, let's do it. Let's throw it in there. Survivor 50 feels like everyone has pitched their best and zaniest idea. They've broken out the notebooks from the past and thrown it into this game. And while I appreciate the ingenuity, while I appreciate them reaching for the stars, I do feel like more thought is put towards hitting that line of this has never happened before than thinking about the ramifications of how it changes the game. And the game's going to change. I'm not looking for season 1 to be replayed here. I'm looking for stuff to come out, especially in season 50. But for the game mechanics, like we had, Eric from Squid Games on here, and he talks about how he has a PhD in figuring out game mechanics and how to game logic and stuff. You have to think about the ramifications of every angle. Because you pitching at a writer's table like, hey, what if we made a contestant vote for themselves? That's a cool idea that I guarantee you people at the table went, oh, that's interesting. But then you have to think about what's next. How does the player recover from that? What can they actually do? That also affects their shot in the dark. That also affects this. That also affects this. And then I have to say that in front of everybody. I have no chance to hide anything. Could I play an idol on myself? Does my vote not count against myself? Can someone else play a vote for me? Like, all of these things, I know they are thinking them out, but I don't think they've thought them out enough to say, hey, we've broken the rules too much with this advantage or disadvantage. Maybe we should backtrack it at the cost of not being able to say, this has never happened before. Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. And I think that's so interesting because I hadn't thought of that, but you saying it, it's like, oh, absolutely, because they've said that at least once every episode. So I think you're 1,000% right that they are just going for that shock value of new things as opposed to really thinking of what is going to be the most beneficial for the players and for the fans to witness. Because I don't know, the thing that bothers me sometimes with these beware advantages and with all the new twists and turns, I'm fine with new things, but I feel like they should be on somewhat of the same level playing field. Like, if someone goes on a journey and the only risk is they lose their vote, okay. And then this person goes on a journey and they lose, they have to vote for themselves and tell everyone about it and can't use a shot in the dark, and all the things you just said. Well, that's not necessarily fair. And I guess Survivor isn't fair. Survivor's a lot of luck. And the people that went on this journey volunteered to go. Christian volunteered to go. Mm-hmm. But it just, I don't know. It just sometimes really does feel like certain players get the shit end of the stick. And it's frustrating to see. If Christian hadn't have had to read that aloud to everyone, I still truly feel like he could have maneuvered his way out of it. Mm-hmm. But having to read it out loud, he's screwed. There's really no recovering from it, as we saw.
And listen, the pro of going on that journey, I liked that advantage. Essentially, it's an extra vote and you throw it in the urn early and we're going to tribal and nobody knows that there's actually already a vote that's been cast. That's fun. These changes can be fun, and I am all for adding to the game of Survivor. I'm also all for letting a 24-person all-star cast play out a season of Survivor and rely on the all-star cast to make it successful and entertaining and interesting. I guarantee you if we didn't have all of these changes in there and we just played if we did a Brant Steele simulator and we just redid season, 45 with these 24 players, everything's the same, we'd still be entertained by it because of these 24 players. It's a great cast. They did a great job picking these people.
Yes.
And adding on this other stuff, the Jimmy Fallon aside, the Billie Eilish aside, like adding on the actual game mechanic changes, I think has tainted the waters a little bit too much, in my opinion. I enjoyed that we were back on the barge. The fact that we did the Rachel Lamont thing, that was one of the most unique things I've ever seen on Survivor when it happened the first time. I enjoy the idea of it's going away. I cannot believe Christian failed at it. I thought he was going to get it successfully. And Christian, as you said, he volunteered to go for the journey. He wasn't forced to do this. He knew the ramifications of going on a journey could cost him badly in this game. I thought it was a disadvantage that was so great that this was unrecoverable. It doesn't matter who if Cirie went on this challenge, she seems to be in everyone's, plans. Like she seems to be in control, the puppet master of this thing. If Cirie had been in Christian's position, I guarantee you they all vote Cirie out because it's like, well, this is an easy vote. She's defenseless. And we all know she's defenseless. Let's just do it and get it over with. We're advancing a day further. And I'm even more worried, Bailey, after this, about what happens next week. The fact that Mr. Beast is there, good on Survivor for getting that collab, good on Survivor for getting those eyeballs. When he brought out a Mr. Beast designed case like it's some Money in the Bank from WWE, and Jeff Probst says in a voiceover, this is not just a beware advantage, but again, for the first time in Survivor history, it's a super beware advantage. Don't know what that means, but do you have the faith in the Survivor producers that this thing does not alter the game too much?
I don't trust it. I'm nervous every week. I'm nervous every week because I just don't know what they have up their sleeve, how it's going to affect my favorite players, how it's going to affect people who have played arguably a, almost perfect game or have played really great strategic games that are getting these ridiculous twists that are just throwing them to the bottom with no hope of climbing out. But I guess that's also Survivor in general, right? Like we've seen this so many times. They test these people to their absolute wits' ends. They push them down from the top to the bottom and watch them try to crawl their way back up, and we see the people that are able to do it win Survivor and the people that aren't go home. So it'll just be interesting to see, especially when you have such a group of veterans, it's like they're all playing their all and they're all good television and all good entertainment. And so to long-winded answer your question, no, I'm not looking forward to the Mr. Beast twist. I'm just nervous.
I'm nervous too.
I will say that having it on top of the little table like that and the way that they were sitting did make me believe that maybe we're getting an auction, because just of how it was sat and placed, maybe that's just an item for the auction is the super beware advantage, and we'll see if people bite, and maybe everyone's like, no, I don't bite, and then it's just a waste of a Mr. Beast.
That's not a bad catch, Bales. That very well could be an auction item because it was presented in front of everybody. It's not like people went and found that in the woods or anything, but I am right there with you in the fact that I am nervous on how this continues because, again, we have 10 people left, and Christian too. Christian did not play a perfect game. We saw this episode that people were coming after Christian. He was flip-flopping on players like Ozzy. His name was in people's mouths. He went to Cirie and said, hey, I'm thinking about voting out Ozzy, and that was going to cost him as well. So, Christian very well could have gone home without this Jimmy Fallon disadvantage. And the 10 players that are playing, I just hope that we get a winner on Survivor 50 that wasn't just the luckiest person on the island, that just didn't happen to go on any of these journeys or didn't happen to put their head too far above water. We had Mike Gabler on the show. He won and talked about how you could win on season 50 with the Alec Gabler technique, going above the water, taking a bite, and then going back under. I'm worried that the winner of Survivor 50 is going to be someone that never comes above water whatsoever. And if that's the only way to win Survivor at this point, then you're going to lose the show in the end. I don't want to be all, the sky is falling. But if the only way to win Survivor is to not offer yourself out there, to not make yourself a big target, to not attack in any way whatsoever and just stay in the weeds, then we might as well be watching Traitors. and I didn't sign up to watch Traitors on Fiji. Before we go any further, Jimmy Fallon has just called me to say that we need to tell you about our first ever giveaway on the Survivor Squared show. It's now sponsored by Jimmy Fallon, Billie Eilish, and Mr. Beast. Don't tell them that. Please don't send a cease and desist. But if you want to learn how to sign up for the first ever giveaway on Survivor Squared, pay attention to this message and we will be right back. Want to practice puzzles before going on Survivor? Don't worry, Survivor Squared has got you. Happy to say we are partnering with Puzzling Design, who creates custom puzzles inspired by competition reality shows, including Survivor. They make replicas, remix, fully original puzzle designs, and their work combines over a decade of engineering expertise with 3D printing, woodworking, and vinyl graphics to turn your specific vision into a memorable competitive experience. And here at Survivor Squared, we are giving away our very own Survivor Squared themed slide puzzle. The way you can enter is do two things. Number one, comment on the episode you are watching right now, whether it's on Spotify or YouTube, wherever you are, leave a comment and try to write something more than just hello. Make it engaging, have a conversation. And number two, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Even if you're listening to this podcast on an audio-only platform, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's how I'm going to pick who the winner is. And we will be drawing the winner on our Season 50 finale podcast. That's when we will break down who wins this show, who wins this Survivor slide puzzle, and send it directly to you. But excited to do our first giveaway on the Survivor Squared podcast. Leave us a comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you could be getting your very own slide puzzle. But now, back to the show. The 10 players that are left, Bailey. Let's go away from what happened to Christian. I'm excited for these 10 players because some of them are playing very, very interesting and unique games. And as you said, completely unpredictable on how this is going. We don't have factions. We may have some groups of people, but we really don't have like one alliance versus another alliance. Seems to be more floaters than there are alliance members. And I was very interested from this episode in particular because some of these players kind of started making waves with people that they haven't talked to a lot. Aubrey and Jonathan really cemented themselves as they might be a tag team moving forward. Stephanie is in line with Joe and Jonathan. Then you have Cirie, Ozzy, and Rizzo kind of going out in their different angles and working with different people. Devins obviously loses Christian, but him and Emily are starting to work with some different people, and then Tiffany and Cirie linking at the end. Were there any, whether it's an old partnership or a new partnership, that surprised you or interested you in any way from this episode in particular?
The first one specifically was the Aubrey and Jonathan. I mean, I wrote Aubrey and Jonathan ... interesting ... real ? Because I just was like, you know, it felt, I loved what Aubrey said, and I thought that was such a good point that she made of like, I don't want to make it to the end with 4 nerds. Like, I like working with people that are different from me. I thought that was a really good arguing point, especially against Jonathan. I felt like that's something that would have resonated well with Jonathan. He's just hard to read, man. Jonathan is hard to read sometimes. I can't tell if he's in on it or if he's just kind of telling her what she wants to hear. But I thought that was very interesting. I thought it was also like just Emily going to Cirie and being like, I want to go for Ozzy. I thought that was very interesting too, because we saw in the very beginning, Emily was all gung-ho about working with Ozzy and I want to be with him and I think we could have something. And I thought they were pretty tight. So for her to turn on him was pretty wild. And I mean, again, just hats off to Cirie when she was explaining in her little confessional the way that she's attached with everyone. She's everyone's best friend. I don't know how she does it. How does everyone trust her with everything?
We said this in the Power Rankings episode, Bailey. You let Cirie get to the merge, she's going to win this thing, because this is absolutely it. And the fact that no one has realized that everyone goes to Mama Cirie to talk, like the fact that Emily has that conversation. Right? Or it's either Christian or Emily. Now, it might have been Christian at this point. He has that conversation with Cirie, and Cirie doesn't move off of the hammock before Ozzy sits down next to her, and Cirie literally goes, listen to what Christian just said. Don't make any faces. Don't make that smile, which I loved. But then tells Ozzy. And then Ozzy leaves. And then Cirie still hasn't moved, and now she's talking to Jonathan. Guess what Christian just said? Like, she is like the Oracle in the Matrix movies. Everyone comes to her for these insights and pieces and pearls of wisdom, and Cirie is just, telling everyone where to go. She directed the vote on Coach and Chrissy last week. Today, she's like, listen, I heard all this info. I think Christian's the next one. Like, she is running this game, and Bailey, I pray to God she keeps running this game, because if this all comes out with Cirie on top in the end, we'll be doing parades in the streets.
No, and my favorite part of all that too was Sari turning to Jonathan and going, "Stop your face! I'm going to punch you in the face right now." She literally says, "I'm going to punch you in the face if you can't control your face." I love her with every fiber of my being. She brings me so much joy, and I don't know how she does it.
She's wonderful. She's absolutely wonderful. And there are a handful of wonderful people still on this island. There are a handful of people that I do think have a chance to win this thing, and I'd be rooting for them to win. There is one name in particular, Bailey, and last night cemented it for me. I don't want anywhere near this game anymore. I'm ready for them to be voted out. I've been kind of against them for the entirety of this season.
You've been ready.
And last night in particular, Emily Flippin said something that really, really irked me. During Final Tribal, Christian's talking about how he, went for the idol or he went for the journey and he's mad at Jimmy Fallon. Christian is sitting there pondering, like trying to position himself to get on the Jimmy Fallon Tonight Show in some skit or whatever. Like I guarantee you that was Christian's whole goal entering Final Tribal, because it was weird the way he started talking about it. Jeff's even like, there's some big stakes here and you're making a joke about it. And Christian's like, listen, this is all I got. Like no one's buying the joke. Like he's checking in with people. Nah, no one's laughing with me. Shit, this didn't even work. Like Christian knows his goose is cooked. But he's talking about the journey, and he's talking about how, this cost him everything. And Emily sits there and goes, well, you guys volunteered to go on this journey. This is what you put yourself out there. I never would have volunteered for this journey. It's too dangerous to go on this journey. She is an analytical mind. She is a strategic person. And her entire game, you could say from 45, but especially on 50, it's absolutely the most unsurprising thing in the world that Emily Flippin would never offer to go on a journey. Because Emily Flippin's entire game is sitting in the shadows and just surviving, just being there. Anyone but me. It's the Sandra strategy to the nth degree. Sandra, at least, tried to attack some people. Emily just goes around and throws out names and no one ever believes her. If this is Emily Flippin's mindset, I'm never going to go on a journey. I never want to be there. Why the F is she on 50, Bailey? Because when you cast these people on 50, whether you like them or don't like them, each of them to a man is trying their damnedest to win season 50. And Emily's way of winning season 50 is not playing season 50. She's just like a wallflower this entire game. And it pisses me off to no end, because I understand there's a million ways to win Survivor. I also understand that, again, you can take your shot. I come from the world of sports. One of my favorite voices in the world of sports, a guy I've listened to forever, is Tony Kornheiser. Used to work for the Washington Post, hosts PTI, has a podcast of his own. He always talks about whenever something weird happens in the NFL or the NBA, maybe a ruling goes down or they switch around some timestamp, or they have the college football game Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Why? Because it's prime time, so they can get the most views. That doesn't help the college kids at all. But Tony Kornheiser always says, doesn't matter what the sport is. It's not a sport. It's a television show. And Survivor, for what it is, it's a game. It's a reality. It's all this other stuff. It's a sport. We treat it like a sport. At the end of the day, Survivor is a television show, and all of these 24 players were tasked with this responsibility to make the greatest season ever in Survivor season 50. And the fact that Emily Flippin sits there and goes, the way I'm going to make this a television show is by not doing a goddamn thing, it pisses me off to no end, Bales. And I understand it's a strategy, but I can't take it anymore.
Well, I would argue, because I understand 100% what you're saying, and especially with the fact that there are so many people that would have killed to be on 50, diehard strategists, diehard competition beasts, I think, you referred to Emily as a wallflower. I would argue that she's not a wallflower. She's one of those like singing fish you put on the wall that just is quiet, quiet, quiet. And then you push the button and it's like, blah, blah, blah. Here's everything I know. That's Emily's purpose. Emily is an agent of chaos. She was put on this show to run her mouth so that other people's games got blown up. No one ever thought Emily Flippin was going to win. Some people did, which was always crazy to me. But I think the producers, none of them thought Emily was going to win. They said, well, bring her on because she's going to screw up other people's games. And then we're going to have to watch the better players scramble and work harder because of her. She's just a roadblock. She's a speed bump. Like, that's And I don't mean to diminish her because I do like Emily as a person. Like, she seems very sweet. She's got a good attitude. But yeah, her gameplay is BS. She doesn't have a gameplay. She is there to cause chaos. She's there to disrupt other people's flow. And she's there to make it harder on everyone else to win.
Thank you for bringing that up. That when we talk about these people, we're talking about the way they play Survivor. We're not talking about them themselves. We're like, again, Emily, I'm sure, is a very different person than what we see on Survivor, and I'm sure we'd all enjoy having a glass of wine with her. I don't mean to diminish Emily the person. I can't stand watching Emily the Survivor player. I did want to play a little game with you, Bales. Now that we have 10 people left, and we have seen however many hours of Survivor this season, we've been talking a lot about the edit, and we've been talking a lot about how some of these players are handled, and some of these players are showcased to us, some of their games. Are we getting insight on them? Are they kind of just floating around? I want to, with these 10 remaining players, go through them one by one, Bales, and I want you to give one-word answers on what the edit is telling you. Maybe they're a villain.
Oh, goodness.
Maybe they're a hero. Maybe they're a this. Maybe they're, if we want to go Emily Flippin, she's a roadblock. She's a singing fish. Like, she's a nothing. Like, I get that. So I just want to give you these 10 names, and I just want one-word answers on what you think the edit is telling you about their game. And we'll start off with the one I talked about a few weeks ago. Stephanie, to me, is getting the hero edit. Bailey?
Because I don't think she's necessarily getting a hero edit. I thought she was in that one episode, but I think now she's getting more of just like the mousy like sidekick. I feel like
Sidekick
she's
edit.
doing
I like
everything
that. The sidekick
I
edit.
say sidekick.
Yeah. Let's go with Aubrey, because my edit for her is she's getting the sneaky edit. She's like the operating in the clouds or in the shadows edit.
I was just going to say, I feel like she's getting like the stealthier edit. Like, she's doing more things behind the scenes and she's more low to the ground and moving around. Yeah.
Tiffany, sadly, is getting the purple edit. She's barely been in the episode, although she had one of the lines of the episode when she called Emily Flippin a flip-flopping ass. I loved it so much.
loved that.
Tiffany, sadly, though, is getting the purple edit. Bales, do you think I'm wrong?
Yeah. No, Tiff's there for the like personality hire type thing. Like, she says some funny asides and that's about all we're getting from her.
Emily, I think we talked about getting sort of the roadblock edit. I like that.
Yeah. Roadblock, speed bump.
Thankfully, Cerie's getting the puppet master edit.
Yep.
Right?
She's just getting she's the master. Yep. She's the ringleader.
What do you think about Rizzo's edit?
Rizzo's just getting like the boy next door edit. I feel like we're just, everyone loves him. He's unthreatening. No one's really worried about him, but he's just the boy next door.
No, I like that. I had the best friend edit. That's what I had. What do you think about Ozzy's edit? To me, it's been the most unique showing yet.
Ozzy, I think, is getting a redemption edit. I think we're seeing Ozzy do things that he didn't get to do before. And I think like we're really seeing a different side of Ozzy who's learned from his past mistakes, and we're getting a redemption arc.
I'm right there with you. What about Rick Devens?
Rick Devens is just happy to be there. That's what I keep getting. I just feel like he's the chaos. He's just happy to be there. He's just enjoying it. Nothing gets him down. He's got thick skin.
Well,
I don't know how to say that in one word.
I brought up Rick Devens because the next one, to me, this one is the reason why I'm playing this and the next one. We have Joe and Jonathan left. Joe, to me, and this is surprising, I think he's getting the dummy edit. All the times we see Joe, he's sometimes making jokes. He's sometimes giving confessionals to cameras, making like big faces and sound effects and stuff. Like, I think one of them was like, and it went like boom. And this episode in particular, the way they edited Joe, especially when he's talking to camera, is him talking to Rick. Joe says things, and immediately the edit proves that Joe is wrong or shows the different point of view than Joe is talking about. And then it cuts back to Joe, and he's still on this thing. And Joe talks about how he's figured it out. He has Rick in his pocket. I've grown a lot through that. Like, I'm a bigger person. I've shown some growth. And the whole time, we're also getting Rick's point of view is like, Joe's an idiot. And it's weird to me that this man that Survivor clearly cares about, like the way they handled 48, the way that they've handled Joe since 48, the fact that they put Joe on this season. Joe's won 2 individual immunities already. He's still going strong here. Like, he has his whole honor and integrity thing. Like, he has his whole avenue of success. The way they're portraying Joe as kind of this game is too smart for him is surprising to me. But do you think I'm reading too much into that?
No, I think you're actually accurate. I'd say if anything, he's giving me more of what you said Emily Flippin is giving, almost of just like, what are you doing? Like, where's your gameplay? There's nothing that Joe has done that has made me be like, oh, that's a contender to win. Like, truly not a single thing. And like you said, those conversations with Devins where he's like, well, why didn't you tell me? And he's like, you were going to vote for me.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, but you didn't know that. Like, what? It just, yeah, I think unfortunately that's a good way to put it. I love Joe, but he is getting a little bit of the Joker, like the dummy, the entertainment value.
The GOAT. He's
That's
getting
sad.
the GOAT at it. He's getting the GOAT at it.
Yeah. Which
and-
is you rarely see with big challenge beasts. You rarely see them getting the GOAT edit. So that's interesting.
The last one, Bales. Jonathan's getting a winner's edit. And throughout the episodes that we've seen, whether you like Jonathan or dislike Jonathan, he came onto this island saying, I need to play a more strategic game. That was his whole premiere. He was saying, I need to play differently. I was got last time. I need to make alliances. I need to do this. I need to work with these people. And we have seen every decision he has made drawn out by him. It wasn't other people telling Jonathan's story and why Jonathan made these decisions. The decisions that were made weren't made for Jonathan. It wasn't like he went along with someone's vote. He has been shown to make all of these decisions as he's talking you through it to camera. And especially this past episode when he's sitting there with Aubrey. He's talking about why he's partnering with Aubrey. He's talking about the notches on his belt that he can bring to Final Tribal. He's telling you his game throughout the entire season, step by step. Jonathan, to me, no one is coming at people are, trying to say like, hey, we can get Jonathan now. Let's go somewhere else. Like Jonathan, to me, is being showcased as the winner of Survivor season 50 so far.
Yeah, that's really interesting to hear you put it that way because I hadn't seen it like that. And I think you are absolutely correct, which is a bummer because I do see the change in Jonathan's gameplay. I do see him learning from his past mistakes. I do see him working on other attributes and other aspects of his game. But I also just feel like he doesn't get he doesn't do the social part. And for me, that is I'm such a social player and I feel like I naturally gravitate and root for the social players. And I just don't think he has much of a social game. And he's also not winning any individual immunities yet, which is interesting. He's coming close, of course, and he still has time. But yeah, I think you are right. And I didn't even clock that. I think they are giving him a winner edit. Whether that means he wins or not, I don't know. It would be very interesting to see the reaction of the fans if Jonathan were to be the winner of season 50.
I think other than Christian, who is now obviously no longer in the game, only Jonathan and Cirie have we seen their every decision they've made played out to camera and explained to us as the viewer. Everyone else has either been a tag along or had the vote explained to them. Sure, they've made some moves, but every single move that Jonathan, Cirie, and Christian have made have been completely narrated by them to us. And so that's why I thought Christian was lasting a little bit longer, obviously taken out here. Oh, we also saw Coach's point of view quite a bit. But again, so maybe Jonathan's next out. Maybe he's run his course. But I'm just saying, him and Cirie in particular have narrated us their entire game for this entire season. And that's usually a tell that they're going a little bit far and potentially coming away with the crown. But Bailey, we've come to that point in the show where we have to predict what happens next. And who do you think gets eliminated 10th in Survivor season 50?
It seems obvious, but I'm just going to go with it. And I think I said this last week, but I'm going to stick with Devins. I still feel like Devins, just everything that happened 2 episodes ago just really solidified that they are going to try to get him out. And especially because he didn't play the idol, quote unquote idol. Last one, I think that's going to cause even more confusion for a lot of people of like, wait, why didn't he play it? We have to flush this now. So I Yeah, I think Devins is not in a good position.
I really like you, Devin's pick, but just to be different, I'm gonna go with Wizard of Oz getting their first blow to the trifecta that's here. Even though they've been very under the radar, again, people need to realize that everyone's talking to Suri. Everyone's talking to Suri. How do they not realize that everyone is talking to Suri? But that is it.
I hope they don't. I hope they don't realize.
But that is it for this episode of Survivor Square. Tony Squares, Bailey Buffs. On Monday, we will be talking to another season 49 participant about his boy Rizzo. Stephen Ram is coming on to the show. Excited to break that down. Excited to keep going in this. We only have a few episodes left, Bales. We have a lot of stuff planned. And of course, as we told you in the middle of this show, sign up for that puzzle giveaway. We're excited to give that one out. I cannot wait for it all to debut. But Bailey, that's it for me. That's it for you. And we shall see you next week.